Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the pre-show. Just getting set up, making sure everything is thus and so, and all my P's are dotted and my T's crossed. Oh, my eyes are blurry today. Need my glasses. Hey, field guy. From one of many, from many one. Exactly. Be an interesting talk tonight. So I hope you're all ready to enjoy it. Those of you who are not here aren't hearing this yet, because we go live on the radio in roughly 2 minutes. Oh, roughly 1 minute and 15 seconds. All right, get that mic set. There, and then I think we're set. Was working all day on my computer, and I looked up and it was time to go. So, hey, Rattle Flag. Good to see you. Welcome to the pre-show. It just feels too bright. I feel like my eyes are burning from that. There we go. Now that's too dark. We got about 30 seconds and we go live. Oh, see, that's too bright. It's just too much light. All right, we'll get it figured out. 20 seconds to go. And if I can get this light in the right position, I don't even know why it's changed. All right, I'm going to go dark. We'll be right back. Stand by.
The Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Well, hey, folks. Welcome to the program. This is not the pre-show. This is the actual program. I'm your host, Scotty Roberts. Welcome to the Intrepid radio program, broadcasting live in audio format only over on Subspace Odyssey Radio. And you can go to odyssyradio.com. That's ODYSY radio.com. You can go over to subspace.radio. And you can find us in many different places. That's the audio place to find us because it's radio. And then you can come on over to the YouTube channel where most of you are right now, right here. That's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. That's my channel. And you can watch the show in its video simulcast. And the best part about that is joining the chat room filled with Intrepheads who are there to keep your rapt attention. And I put on the wrong glasses. Those are not my computer glasses. These are. I need them tonight. Some days my eyes are blurry. Some days they aren't. Tonight they are. So got to use these tonight. And that's because I've been staring at my computer screen most of the day. Hey, Barbie D, good to see you. Field Guy, Randall Flag, everybody else who's starting to join in the chat room. And those of you who are out there and have not yet joined the chat room, you know what? If you don't see an announcement on the given day, this is the same place we've been this time every day since, 4 years ago? So if you enjoy this show and you go, oh, I'm late because I didn't see the announcement. I may have gotten the announcement up late and you didn't catch it, but still come over. Same place, same time. So you just come on over to my YouTube channel and you can click in. Or if you're just listening, you can go over to subspace.radio and or odyssyradio.com, as we've already covered. And so today, I want to talk about something that started out of a conversation I had online with someone, a friend of mine, somebody I like and somebody whose company I enjoy. And we were talking about, I had put up a post about the whole Bud Light thing. And I didn't get into it at all. I just put up a picture of a can that had the old Jim Carrey. Remember Jim Carrey about 20, 25 years ago? SNL. Was it SNL that he was on, or was he on Second City? I can't remember. I think it was SNL. And where he played the, the woman who talked like this, and he had on the bikini top and his chipped tooth and his pigtails. And making fun of transvestites or transsexuals as they were referred to years ago. Even in our own modern history, the definitions have changed, the names have changed. In Living Color, that was it. And so I put that picture up, and I said, "Hey," I said, "Bud Light has switched to a new ad campaign." That's all I said. And a friend of mine who's European, lives over across the water, not Wendy, was criticizing it, thinking it was banal and simpleton and below in my intelligence and anyone else's. And this person took that opportunity to kind of critique and criticize American culture. And he said, "The problem is you guys have no culture over there." And I said, "Oh, we do. I beg to differ." Now, something I found, there are sometimes people, even friends, who want to goad you into a debate or heated conversation. I refuse to go there unless I choose to go there. It's like being offended. You can't offend me because I choose to not be offended. It's like the old Doc Holliday meme, if sir, if I'm to be insulted by you, I must first respect your opinion. And that's kind of the way I feel about it. And I will always try to diffuse those type of arguments while still making my own opinion known and my own argument known. And I think that's a good way to handle those things without I don't get to be a blowhard. Well, maybe I'm a blowhard a little bit. I don't blow back on people. I don't insult people untowardly. I might insult them with a more intellectual insult. I might try to challenge their thinking. I never resort to calling names. I don't stoop down to that kind of stuff. I figure if somebody's got enough of an opinion that they want to express it to me, well, I'll tender a reply to that. I've had some friends out there, friends on social media, that put up public posts, and in their public posts, they state something that is vastly, I think, wrong-headed or anti-American or however you want to classify it. And I don't think all roads lead to Rome in that. I think you can say things and be an American and say things that are un-American or anti-American. And I will sometimes go in and I'll speak up and go, "Hey, friend of mine," I call them by name, "Hey, have you ever considered what the Constitution says on this topic, though?" That came up back when somebody leaked the whole Supreme Court decision on Roe versus Wade. Leaked it before it was even made, which is illegal, by the way. And they were commenting on that, and I said, and they were all pro-abortion. And I said, "Look, I'm not anti-abortion, but I got to ask you." I said, "Have you considered that what you're talking about is not constitutional?" All the Supreme Court did was say it's not constitutionally, it's not under the venue of the federal government to determine decisions on abortion. That goes to the states. That is not what the federal government is meant to do. And so they didn't abolish, as all the rhetoric said, they didn't abolish abortion. They pushed it back to the states. Said the 50 independent states have the right to make their own laws on a medical elective procedure. So that's what it was about. And I commented on it, and I brought that up. I said, "Well, have you considered what the Constitution says and how it works?" And this person replied something about, "I don't care what the Constitution says. We should do away with the Constitution. This is an American citizen." And I said, "Oh, that's very hard ground to be on." I said, "You really shouldn't want to believe that. Do you really want to do away with your constitutional rights?" And the response came back, "Scotty, I like you. You're my friend, but if you want to comment on this stuff, I might have to block you." And I'm like, "Didn't you make this a public post?" This was a public post. And so all you were looking for was the friends that you made this post public to agree with you. And if we didn't agree with you, we're not allowed to comment. I said, I'll honor your request. I won't talk about it anymore. I said, but I want you to think about that for a minute. So that's the kind of thing. Thinking should always challenge you, says Chuck Thurston. If you believe something, you should be willing to support it, but in turn, not get pissy when they don't agree with you. We all have an opinion. Yeah. And I really strive to not get pissy. I sometimes get pissy with people when I see them coming in and all they do is come in to be contrarian. And I throw all the logic, all the intellect, or what I think is intellectual about a topic at somebody. And if they keep coming back and saying the same stuff, I'm like, dude, really, get a life. You got to get a life. And so all of that to say, I had this friend, a European friend of mine, that challenged me on not just the Jim Carrey on the Bud Light can as a joke, but oops, I clicked that by accident. Morgan Snow and Randall. But I put that up as just a comedic effect. Hey, and I said to this European friend of mine, I said, if you stop to consider that I didn't put that up for the sake of politics. I put that up to show bad marketing decisions. And that's truly where I was at. It was like, this is probably one of the most ridiculously poor marketing decisions ever made. Except one thing it did do, marketing-wise, it put Bud Light on everybody's lips. But not the actual beer. The beer, they lost sales. They lost revenue on that ad campaign. And by the way, did you see what the CEO of Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch did as a result of that? Just in the last week, they put out a new Bud Light ad. Have you seen that one? I saw some video clips of the CEO of Anheuser-Busch talking about it. And by the way, he's a good-looking dude, probably 40-ish. Looks like he's very savvy. He's very intellectual. He's got very intelligent, obviously, to be a CEO of a company. And the new ad showed like the Budweiser Clydesdale, one of them running in slow-mo, free, and the wind blowing through his mane, and all this stuff, this voiceover about America and living free and all of this. And it was just the complete antithesis to the transgender can, which I don't care because I don't drink Bud Light anyway. The only reason it occurred to me to say anything about it at all was because of how stupid the whole thing was. And you know what? If your primary buyer of Bud Light are redneck dudes that, are for the most part, you can't say they're conservative, but for the most part, they aren't in support of transgenderism. They don't care. They got their own stuff. They like sports. They like football. They like hockey and so on. If you're catering to that audience with something that would be antithetical to the kinds of thing they support, what are you doing to your brand? You're killing it. And so that was my take on it. Hey, Michael, how you doing out there? And so that was my take on it. You don't. How stupid was that? The head of marketing went for wokeism as opposed to actual smart logistical marketing. And so that we want to be part of the woke community, so we got to be woke with this. It's like, fuck that. Just do what works for your company and appeal to your customers. And so that's a whole nother topic that I've drifted into, but because it fits what I'm talking about tonight. This European friend of mine said, as a result of my putting up that little graphic as a joke, not even as a joke, it was a serious joke. It was funny. It was comical. I told him in the thread, I said, I like to, like Rush Limbaugh used to say a long time ago. He says, I like to illustrate absurdity with the absurd. And I said, did you consider that I'm illustrating absurdity with absurdity? And I said, it's not about politics and so on. And I said, though a lot of people have politicized it, to me, it was stupid marketing games being played. So he took that, though, as a springboard to want to, and if you're listening out there, my friend, Not insulting you at all. I'm just telling the story the way I saw it. I took that to springboard on American culture, that we have no culture. He says, you copy our culture. You copy every other culture that's out there. And he said, there is no American culture. You're kind of dullards. He didn't use that word when it comes to culture. The United States there is no American culture, he said. The only American culture you have is mimicry. Hey, there you go, Chuck. Rush was one of your cousins. That's pretty cool. I liked Rush Limbaugh. Anyway, and I started listening to him in 1988. That's how long ago I was listening to him. That was, I think, almost the first year he was broadcasting. And then, it trailed off after years, I'll be honest. The last several years, I didn't listen to Rush much. I just didn't have time. And I got his message. I got it. Sometimes I would tune him in, and I found I agreed with most of the things he said. So I found a lot of the people who disagreed with Rush were people who didn't even listen to him. They took what they heard other people saying about him. And like Rush would even say, he said, you've got to listen to this show, he says, for a good, solid 6 weeks. Earnestly, he says, before you get it, before you get what I'm about. He says, you can't determine it by listening to a single show and taking a single comment and trying to run off with it. So anyway, that's Rush Limbaugh. So I countered my friend's points by saying, no, I would tend to disagree with you. And I don't think I even used the word disagree. I just countered those points. He said, you do know, he says, that your founding fathers of your country, half of them were Irish, half of them were Dutch. He says, where do you think you fit into that? Did you know that? And I said, hell yeah, I knew that. I said, you got to remember, one of the things I've been a historian most of my life. I said, and I have a keen focus on American culture or American history, and constitutional law. And I said, I think I understood that from the start, and I enjoy the fact. And so he brought up all this stuff about American culture and was really digging on that point. And I said, I said, you're right about one thing. I said, American culture is not what your country's culture is. I said, but consider this, your country has been around for 2,000 to 3,000 years on the map of the world. I said, American culture, United States culture in particular, has been around 246 years. I said, come and see me in 1,500 years and let's have this discussion again. Let's see where American culture is, if we even exist anymore. All great empires, all great cultures fall, and they're morphed into something else. And I said, but remember also, and this is where I brought up the title of tonight's show, E Pluribus Unum, out of many, one. I said, keep in mind, I said, you're claiming that American culture is vapid and void and mimics European culture and your culture and everything else. I said, yeah, it does. You know why? I said, because our country is comprised of your culture. Our country is comprised of people who came over from your country, from every other European country, from every country around the world. Our nation is comprised. I said, why do you think they called us a melting pot? You came here out of many. Everyone comes here. But we craft our own culture from that. Out of many, one. And I think maybe that's what he's seeing and responding to. The one has become a little hazy these days because of things the way they're going in our country. I says, you're right about another thing. He says, there's some of our leaders that want to make us European. I said, we left Europe and we founded this country. I said, it was the great experiment to do something different. No form of government like the United States ever existed in this form prior to the founding of the United States. Now, you might say, well, what about, you'll find some things out there. Well, what about Sparta? Well, Sparta was not American culture in any way, shape, or form. What about the republics in Greece and the Republic of Rome? We're an offshoot of the Republic of Rome, believe it or not. The form of government they had, we have. We just don't have a Caesar. And we are in the United States, our culture is an extension of every other culture that has comprised the population of America. Every other culture has shaped who we are. Take German culture. We're an extension of German culture. We're an extension of British culture. We're an extension of Russian culture. We're an extension of African culture. We're an extension of Irish culture. We are an extension of all these other cultures that have come here and comprised our culture. And we do have some unique points. Yeah, we have a Caesar. A salad, that is, says Steph. Yeah, we do have a Caesar salad. Like I said, you can pretty much elect a cabbage these days. That's why we need somebody better in office. We're strong because we're many, said Chuck Thurston. We're the ones who wanted something better. Damn straight, Chuck. That's exactly what we were. We wanted something better. And what was the old phrase? I saw it. It's probably most popularized in pop culture. If you go back to the movie, God, this is 30 years ago already. Can you believe it? Last of the Mohicans with Daniel Day-Lewis. And who was it? Not Clive Bellicourt. One of the other, Russell Means. And it might not have been Russell Means. Was it Russell Means that played Chingachgook in that, his Indian father? But he quoted a line in that, and he said to the British officer, he says, "Not by your leave." This was the colonial American belief, is that I will do what I want to do, and I'll put my foot where I want to put my foot, but not by your leave. So not by your leave. It simply meant I don't need your permission. And that's what started to develop American culture. Even before we were the United States. So what did Randall say? He said, "Oh, nice, Randall. I missed something he said. We'll come back to it." He said, "Hey, Steph, I see that. Casino," he said. So we are an extension of world culture. You know what the United States is? It's unique. It's unique for several different reasons. And as you might imagine, I have some lists of reasons why we are unique. And American culture, our values, our everything about us. America is one of the most culturally diverse countries. We've got residents representing nearly every religion in the world, every country in the world. And America is home to people from all around the world. So when you study at a United States university, you're likely to encounter unique cultures, traditions, arts, sports, and more. Over time, a lot of these multicultural traditions have blended and adapted and become the face of American culture. I mean, who would say the hot dogs and apple pie and baseball represent American culture? Those all seem like such banal things, but that is who we are. That's what we're made up of. American culture is described as a melting pot of cultures. The U.S. is the third largest country in the world, with residents representing different ethnic groups, such as I already mentioned, African Americans, Asian Americans, Indigenous Americans, Latin Americans. And as a result, U.S. cultures may at once seem both familiar and different, whether it's shared values, food portions, styles of food, driving, fashion, and even slang. Learning about American culture in advance can give you a sense of what to expect while you're in the United States. If you travel here from overseas, we have values that every country has its own set of values, principles. This is true for America. And speaking generally, people in the USA align with the values stated in our Declaration of Independence, that all are created equal with unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does that all mean, though? And we can tear that apart. We say, well, no, we're not all equal, because there are some rich people, there are some poor people. Yeah, you're always going to have that. Any culture you're in, there's going to be wealthy people, there's going to be poor people, and then the massive people that are in between. But I usually do this on the 4th of July, and so that's coming up not too many months away. But I want to read just a portion of this, the Declaration of Independence, because I made mention of it here. It says this. Now, if you don't know what the American or the Declaration of Independence says, I'm stating to you now for a fact that the Declaration of Independence, in one form or another, really sets forward what American culture truly is and what it's all about. So, the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America is how it starts. Now, if you didn't have to learn this in school, and if you haven't heard me quote it a couple of times on this show, listen to this. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the options of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to this separation. Chuck Thurston said it earlier. We came here for a better life, to do something better. Now it goes on in the Declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Men being mankind. It means men and women. Now, there have been some struggles with that, because we know that we've had slavery in this country, we have inequality in this country, and so on. But I think step by step, the United States is a culture that has been doing away with that. We have evolved away from doing that, and we're working toward getting better. So much so that we go flip-flopping overboard the other direction, which causes chaos and havoc. So it's get you rein it in, make it work, okay? All men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it's the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Think of those words right now. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of the ends of allowing people the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, notice it doesn't guarantee happiness, it says you're allowed to pursue it. That whenever the government becomes destructive of these ends, it's the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And by the way, this is American culture being spelled out for you here. Prudence, indeed. Prudence, is that a word we hear much these days? Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they're accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. And of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government, the history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. And to prove this, let the facts be submitted to a candid world. And then they go through all their list of grievances in here. You should go back and read your Declaration of Independence and understand why we even revolted against England. Now, at the end of this whole list, at the last two paragraphs, well, three, one's a very short one, it says in the Declaration, in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be ruler of a free people. You hear our culture coming out in that? We are a free people, comprised of other countries, at that time mostly England. Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and our settlement here. There's what Chuck Thurston was talking about. We reminded them of the circumstances of why we emigrated and settled here. We've appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we've conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and our correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme judge of the world and for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as a free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all the other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. That is the basis there of American culture. If you want to say that we don't have a culture of our own, I've just read it to you. That is American culture. And what has grown out of that is the melting pot. We are an extension of all other cultures that have come here to make their homes here. This is why even Thomas Jefferson and other founders said, if you're going to, I'm paraphrasing, if you're going to come here, you need to become American. You can hang on to your heritage. You can hang on to your religion. You can not hang on. That's a bad phrase to use. You can practice your religion. You can keep your heritage. You are free to do those things here, but above and foremost, you are American. When you take that oath to become a citizen, or you were born here, you are a member of this society, a citizen of this society. Why do we say, and there was all kinds of ratty, crappy talk about American exceptionalism. I believe in American exceptionalism because you know what I believe it really is? It's not my private interpretation. It's the things I just read you. It's the things we're talking about. America is exceptional because we raise the people above the bar of the government. Because the government is of the people, by the people, for the people. Now, does that mean it's willy-nilly and you can get government to do anything you want it to do? No. There are laws we abide by. We have legislatures. We are a representative republic. We are a representative constitutional republic. And that's how we create our laws. That's how our values stem from our laws. They stem from our morals. They stem from our cultures that are all blended here. And hell yeah, Randall, you're right. We are exceptional in the world. And anything you see coming down the pike in this country, in our leadership, in the way we practice around the world, that breaks down that exceptionalism, and especially in front of the eyes of the world, America no longer becomes special. And we've lost it. America was once that bright, shining light on a hill. And matter of fact, I just use the past tense because that's where our minds are these days. I think it still is, although we have become really kind of a lot of fingers pointing at us from around the world, a bit of a laughing stock. Our leadership right now is poor. We need stronger leaders. I don't care what party you vote for. I don't care what your political predisposition is. You can be conservative like I am. You can be liberal. You can be libertarian. You can be Republican, Democrat, or anything else in between, so long as you uphold American exceptionalism in the world. We will no longer exist if we let that go. And if America loses its exceptionalism, there's a lot of countries that are going to go down with us, is the problem with that. So that's a discussion of another kind for another time to get into details about that. But our culture is one that has been born out of many cultures. When somebody brings the charge to me, as my friend did, that we have no culture of our own, we only mimic other cultures, I say, hell yeah, we do. You know why? Because we are those many cultures. I don't think America is strong because of our diversity. I don't think we need to be diverse to be a good country. I think America is strong because diversity is what built us, and we have become one. Out of many, one. E pluribus unum. Or as the wizard said, and in that balloon, Dorothy, I shall take you back to the land of E pluribus unum. That always comes to mind when I hear that. So I heard E pluribus unum from the time I was 3 years old watching The Wizard of Oz. So that always pops in my mind. It's a constant picture. Dave Potter, Uncle Dave says, damn Skippy, think before you vote and start voting the better candidates. And again, I don't care who you vote for unless you're voting for somebody that would tear down our culture or start to try to dismantle our culture. There's a lot of politicians out there right now that want to make us more like Europe. I say we're already as much like Europe as we need to be. We're comprised of Europeans. We're comprised of Africans. We're comprised of Asians. We're comprised of everything around the world. We're comprised of indigenous Americans. My friend also brought up in his line of arguing or reasoning that he has a good Native American friend that is, in a sense, denied the right to. Now, this is my understanding. Let me get this whole thing spit it out the way I understood it. He said it's something like he doesn't. He practices his own culture. Why don't you practice your own culture? Meaning he lives honoring his heritage and his culture. And I happen to know who he's talking about. And I know that person is also somebody who engages in capitalism. He's somebody who has his own business. He's somebody who has a house like the rest of us have. He's a modern American and would probably never want to give up his American citizenship. But he is also Native American. I also have a very dear friend who you all know, and I brought this up, who is an indigenous Native American. but he also has European blood in his veins as well. But the fact that he honors his ancient native culture, more power to him. I respect that. But he's also an American. Drives a car. He has to go to the grocery store like I do. He has internet and TV. He watches movies. He reads books. But he also gets up and prays every day and honors his culture. I'm good with that. It's not even mine to be good or bad with. That is what is, and that's what exists. Right now, I am part Welsh. I am part Scottish. I am a Celtic mutt. I found out recently by my DNA, all these new DNAs, they always keep changing it. And they figure the percentages on the number of people they find that are connected to your DNA tree. Then I find out I've got more Scandinavian in me than I thought I had. We don't have any Scandinavian names even in my family tree. Well, maybe on the matriarchal side, and it'd be way out. I didn't explore that much. We also have Italian. I found out I'm 17% Italian, according to the new number twist on my DNA. But there are no Italians in my family tree, other than Rocky Stucci, but we're not related by blood. So we've got my own wife, Rainey. She is Irish. She is Finnish. She is Native American. Like you couldn't tell that by looking at her. She still looks very Caucasian, but she's got the overall, you take a look at her. She's got a Native American look to her. And I have said always, by the way, on this topic, that I am a Native American. Just like my brother, Reuben Fasthorse, is a Native American, so am I. He's just an indigenous Native American, meaning his people were here for the long haul. I am an implanted Native American. My ancestors came here 300 years ago. Wait, is that right? 1710? Yeah, 300 years ago. So my family's been here for 315 years almost, something like that. And so 9 generations back. So I am a Native American. This is my country, land that I love. This is my country. Grandest on earth, as the song said. I pledge thee my allegiance, America the bold, for this is my country to have and to hold. Now, you can bring up all the questions of, did our culture spring out of the fact that we subjugated another culture? Yeah, it did. Did British culture thrive because it subjugated Scottish culture? Yeah, it did. They absorbed Scottish culture, shut down the Highlands and the clans. It was outlawed. You could be killed for wearing a kilt and speaking Gaelic. Now, same thing here in America. We stole the land, and we did. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I don't like the argument. I've heard people say, well, we did conquer them. They're a conquered people. I don't give a flying fuck if we conquered a people and we can claim that this is now our country. That doesn't justify it. But at the same time, I wasn't there. Reuben, my friend, wasn't there. He honors his culture that was subjugated. I honor my culture, even the ones who did wrong things. There were atrocities committed here. In the name of eminent domain, we must own this continent from shore to shore. And we pushed out anybody in the way. Why did we do it? Because we were stronger than they were. But that was not the desire of everybody in the country. That was the government we had put in place. We have a government in place now that are doing things we don't want them to do. Do we do anything other than get on social media and go, oh, those damn Democrats or those damn Republicans, and we spout our piece about it? And this is something my friend who was talking to me the other day had said, all you guys do, you get on social media and you complain about it. What do you do about it? And I said, I said, you're from a culture that has had its own problems that way. I said, your nation right now is divided. Don't talk about the division of my nation. Talk to me about the division in your nation. And there's a decisive division there. And so what happened in the past in my country, anywhere from, 120 years ago to, frankly, 100 years ago, Native American schools. We've all heard about, the red hand stuff, for lack of a better thing to call it, about the indigenous women and children and girls that have disappeared over the last century. Atrocities committed. And so you look at this and you say, our country is full of bad actions and atrocious behavior toward others. But none of us here now, many of us here now, by the way, are just learning about that. We didn't know about that when we were kids. That wasn't taught in schools. And as we learn about that, what do? We say we're going to ensure that we don't do that again. So what does our country do? We have the freedom to evolve and the freedom to better ourselves. Not to recognize every little complaining group that's out there, but to say, look, you're part of the whole. You have the right to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Where do those three things end? It ends when you try to impose it on someone else unlawfully. You have the right to do whatever you want, so long as you hurt no one else in the process. And that's an overview of that. So, going on with kind of where I started, we have independence in this country. That's part of our culture. Independence. From a young age, Americans are taught to be self-sufficient and to be independent. Everybody wants to achieve what they have dubbed the best marketing campaign ever in the history of mankind, the American dream. And it's attainable. It's a struggle, though. Sometimes you don't attain the American dream. And then it goes to spirituality. It goes to where your heart is, your values, your morals. You're allowed to fall back on those and express those, as long as you don't push them on other people or harm other people with them. So the importance of a person being able to mold their own identity and their future via their own choices, their abilities, their efforts is heavily emphasized in American culture, our education, our institutions. Americans value taking care of themselves and having the freedom to pursue their own definition of happiness. This extends to life on all levels, where you are in charge of selecting the way and the direction you want your life to take. Now, if you're trapped, there are a lot of people trapped in poverty. There are a lot of people that can't get ahead. There are many of us, and even increasingly so during this administration, increasingly becoming poorer. Money is becoming tighter. And we are all experiencing that to a certain degree. It's tighter around my household than it's ever been. And we have the freedom, however, to change it. We can change it in government. Sometimes it takes a while, every 2 years, every 4 years. You can elect the people and put them in office that are going to support the kind of the way you want government to run, the kind of legislation you want to see passed. And as long as the Constitution supports what they do, you have the freedom to pursue that. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be differences of opinion. Not everybody. You can't please all the people all the time. But you can give all the people all the time life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that exists for us all. That is our culture here in these United States. So you're going to have differences of opinion. So what? Water off a duck's back. You have differences of opinion. Sometimes you're going to have major differences in legislation. We see that with the two parties represented in our Congress today. One says, we're going to do this, and we're going to tap this much more money out of the people. And the other side saying, no, you can't do that. It is against the principles of who we are. And so the fight goes on. I'd rather have them fight it out in Congress than with blades and guns. Then again, that might bring around a resolution quicker. I don't know. I'm not promoting that kind of a bloody revolution, by the way. So for American culture, we have independence, we have values, which we already talked about, we have equality. There may not be equity. Equity is a different thing than equality. Equity says we must mandate that everybody rises to the same level, that everybody has equal outcomes. That can't be guaranteed. You can't guarantee that under a representative republic, such as a constitutionally representative republic such as ours. Can't do that. That's tyranny. When you push for equity, that everybody makes the same, meaning everybody makes the same amount of money, everybody wears the same clothing, everybody has the same little shoes and rice caps, rice hats. You know what? We'd be communist China. You can't guarantee equity. And that is not what our country is about. Our country is about equality, meaning everybody has the right to pursue that end. For Americans, equality means everyone is born equal and no one is inferior or superior to the other. Doesn't matter if you've got racists out there. Doesn't matter if you have counter racists out there. Doesn't matter what some people believe is systemic in our country and others don't. Everybody is born equal and everyone has the same equal opportunity to get themselves ahead. But you might have to fit into American culture in order to do that. You have to be an American pursuing American things. Doesn't mean you forget your religion, forget your heritage, forget any of those things. It means that there are certain unwritten rules you follow within our culture. That's what culture is, that you have to follow in order to achieve certain things. Can you be a Native American and become president of the United States? Hell yeah. Can you be a Native American, be CEO of a corporation? Yes, you can. I'm talking about indigenous peoples. Can you be black and achieve those things? We already have. I said at the time Obama was in office and everybody was caterwauling about racism, I said, you know what? Since I've been an adult in the last 35, 40 years, I said, you know what? I said, I've seen black cops. I see black judges. I've seen black legislators and senators. I've seen black legislators and senators on the national level, the congressional level. I've seen a black president. I've seen black members of the Supreme Court. Opportunity is there, folks. It's there. Nobody's pushing you down. You might have pockets in America of severely tainted mental idiots who want to push racism. You get out of that. You go where it doesn't exist. Or you work your tail off to change it, like some have. Some lost their lives doing that. American citizens are human beings too, just like they are in Ireland or Germany or anywhere else around the world. Human beings create atrocity. Human beings also counter atrocity and build something better. The United States culture, we have individualism. Similar to valuing independence and culture in America, America places a great deal of importance on the individual and individualism. Individualism usually refers to being self-sufficient, with community and or government assistance as a last resort to help those who fall through the cracks in society. This means people are free to pursue their goals, often on their own terms, within the context of the United States laws and the United States Constitution. Americans hold the ideals of freedom and order in high regard, and individualism is a key component. Individual responsibility before the law is important. The ability to express your individual views and opinions is considered part of our freedom. There's materialism, there's the holidays we have. All of these are things, our religions. We represent in this country every single religion that exists in the world. As of 2021, the United States is 63% Christian, 40% Protestant, 21% Catholic, 2% other, 25% unaffiliated with any religion, 2% Jewish, 1% Buddhist, 1% Hindu, 1% Muslim, and there's other religions. So we have social norms and etiquette that form our culture. And all of these, we can talk about these a bit in the captain's cabin. We have diversity in this country. So, does America have its own culture? You're damn straight we have our own culture. And we are the product of all the cultures that have built this country from nothing into what it is. And to our radio audience right now, I got to say thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. Stick around here for the Captain's Cabin. Live long and prosper.
Join us every weeknight at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. The Intrepid radio program, a Scotty Roberts Productions broadcast.
Well, everyone, welcome to the captain's cabin. This is the little after show that we do after the Intrepid radio program. We just stay live over here on the YouTube channel, and anybody who wants to join us can be here. I want to thank you all for being here during the show, and enjoy having you here. I hope you enjoyed the topic, and I hope, whether you're an American or a foreigner, I hope that this all meant something to you. I hope that you were able to glean a little bit more understanding about American culture. Yes, we have a culture. And no, we do not mimic other cultures. We are other cultures. And we have blended it into one. So that's your answer. If anybody wants to criticize you regarding American culture, you just say, look, yeah, we do have a culture. We are the extension of every culture on the planet, blended into one. Well, why do you have so much difficulty? Because of that. Our diversity, we say our diversity is our greatest strength. I think our diversity is one of our greatest weaknesses at times, because it means we are not always unified. That's the struggle to become the one. That's what we're working on, constantly working on. So I see I got Michael Brewer sitting out there in the wings. Let's bring Michael in. Michael, how you doing?
Pretty good. I might be able to get this figured out now.
Hey, you sound actually crystal clear over there.
All righty.
I'm going to take off this big brand banner here. Hold on a second. Boom. There, that's gone.
All right.
All right.
Hey, it only took me 2 weeks to figure it out, Scotty.
I know. Well, I'm glad you got it figured out.
But, you're talking about the culture, and it said people has fought and died. I was just sitting here looking at my family tree. I look back. It comes from England. Then I go to the other side. It's German, Irish descent. And like I said, I was present for the conversation last night, kind of third party. But, to say we don't have culture, that's a lie,
Yeah.
And people's, and I think, you don't, and you said something last night, we're the big blending pot here.
Yes, we are.
When I went to AIT, my kids still call one of my friends Uncle Todd. He was a Boston Jew, and where I come from, I had never seen no Jewish people. I'd heard about them.
Sure.
And he's still a really good friend to this day. So, and I brought part of his culture with me and rubbed some of the good old boy off on him. And I went to synagogue with him, on Friday nights. I couldn't figure out why we was going out on a Friday night to go to church for. We never get that here. But, and he'd always say, hey, my body's a temple. Why don't you treat yours better? I said, Todd, mine's an amusement park. We're going to have fun with it. But no, and like I said, and people who say that forget, we've had, when I served, we had guys all shapes, size, and colors. We even had other people that was, here to get their citizenship. They decided that they could serve, and that was quicker for them to do it. And so, there's a lot of different cultures, a lot of different diversity around. And, I like to think we take the best of what we see, shake it around and make it our own.
Yeah.
Because, talking about, and it goes back, who makes better pizza? New York style deep dish or Chicago style deep dish? And it all comes from Italy. But what gets me is, if you go to China, you don't get Chinese food. That's an American invention. So,
yeah.
But, like
so,
I said,
yeah, there are a lot of exotic cultures out there, colorful cultures, beautiful cultures. That's one thing I like about going to Egypt is I enjoy, while I do not enjoy the Muslim Brotherhood and the strictures of Islam that have been imposed over Egypt, I love the country's culture. And the same with Iran and Iraq. They have, you see pictures from the 1960s when the Shah of Iran was in power there. And there were women walking around the streets. And now this does not necessarily dictate this is what good culture is, but you saw women walking around the streets in blue jeans and mini skirts and modern attire, and you saw the country advancing for good or for ill, however you viewed that. But then when he was overthrown, and when the Taliban came in, when radical Islam came in and took over, they changed things dramatically in that country.
Yeah, they did.
So, but I appreciate the culture. There are people in Iran and Iraq with all the saber rattling we hear back and forth between our country and there's the West and them. I guarantee you there are 99% of the people that don't want that.
No.
They would much prefer open trade with the United States. They would much prefer an open relationship with the United States. Your scientists, your artists, your intellectual fields, they would all like that open trade or that openness between our nations. But the government prohibits it. So all that to say, there's beautiful cultures all around the world. The beauty of our culture is we have them all.
It's
So
yeah, I just thought, looking behind me, but y'all see a lot of it. I don't know who probably didn't bring back UMAG, and that's part of to remind me where I've been, what I've been through, and like I said, I wear them with pride, and as like I said,
I've got mine just like that upstairs, hanging on the hook.
But that's part of the Arabian culture that we brought back, and it's very utilitarian, I guess, but it's And they talk about culture, whatever. After World War II, Operation Paperclip, we wouldn't have had a NASA if we hadn't imported some culture and scientists. And I tell people that, and they're like, "Oh, you can't say that." But I said,
hey, Kenneth, the Kentuckian. By the way, excuse me, Michael. I see you over there waiting in the wings to come on. I don't know you. At least I don't think I do. Go introduce yourself over in the chat room. Our moderators will take a look at you. There are some people, we have enough people that come in here trying to disrupt things for no good reason that we have to put a little stricture on when people come in out of nowhere. Either turn on your camera, wave to me and all of that so I can see you, or go on over into the chat room and introduce yourself to everybody.
It's this chat or another one.
Kenneth the Kentuckian, it looks like.
Hey, Daniel Boone was from Kentucky. All bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Kenneth from Kentucky. So.
The bluegrass state.
There it is.
Me.
He said grass.
Yeah, grass. Like I said, I can see a lot of the culture that you have picked up in your travels, just like me. And I tell them, the good old boy from, Southwest Virginia got out and seen the world. And I thought, the world don't end at the end of the street. There's
right.
And I tell them, and that's like the trade routes that they had to all come through, for the spice trade and all that. They don't think them cultures blended when they
right.
They had to, and that's how come a lot of places have a lot of Viking. That's like Wendy, your co-host,
especially up here.
Yeah, and it's like she's like, I've got a lot of Norwegian in me, and she said, I said there, and I told her, I said, wonder how that happened. The raids,
Yeah.
And
that's why I think I have so much Scandinavian blood. My family goes all the way back in Great Britain and Wales and Scotland, and so where'd the Scandinavian blood come in? Oh, the Viking raids.
That's it.
So,
yeah.
Kenneth from Kentucky has become a Fiat. He dropped out. He didn't even show his face. I see little windows where I can see you all popping in.
Yeah.
But
talking about blending culture. KB called me earlier and he said, "Can you come on and do coffee with KB in the morning?" And I told him, when I found out that KB was sick, I told him, I said, I'll help you any way I can. And that's why I said, talking about blending, because he's Northern Virginia, which is a total different culture.
Are you talking about tomorrow morning, by the way?
In the morning.
I'm free yesterday or today, tomorrow, and Friday, and I was going to come in, and I saw he wasn't on today. How's he doing?
And his voice was very, very low. I had to hold the phone up to my ear to hear him, and but he's supposed to put it out on his page, and I figured I could put it out here because it's all like the same circles. And so
I'll join you tomorrow morning.
I appreciate the help because you're like I told you last night. You're a whole lot more polished than this old boy. I'm rough as hell. But
That's okay. It's morning coffee with KB.
Yeah, special guest host. Yeah, ain't that what it is?
Yeah.
And he keeps saying, I want somebody, if something happens to me, I want somebody to carry this on. And he keeps dropping this hint. And I'm thinking, for a small stature man, they were big shoes to fill every morning to put on a suit jacket at 9 o'clock in the morning. They're lucky I even got on pants at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's really bad. And like I said, it's, they don't want to talk about division. They always look at the bigger picture, but I see the little circle of friends we have here that rallies around the ones who are down or who are sick. And that's one thing that we have here, that KB is still fighting that throat issue. Yes, he is.
He has got us. He's if you had not heard, he does have cancer. He announced that. And we all kind of feared that was what was coming. And so he has been, given the you have this much time, and I think he's trying some things. He's going through some treatments, and we'll see where he is. So he's still struggling.
Because he was taking the treatments, was doing really, really well. He's doing really well with them. And I said,
look at that baby sneaking up behind you.
Oh yeah. I had to run her off a while ago. She kept taking her paw, just kept smacking me because she wants her 30 seconds of fame.
Oh yeah. Hey baby. Oh, look at that head tilt. How you doing, baby? Aren't you a sweetie?
Oh, quit pulling.
Come here. Yeah, come here. Come on.
Right there. But and a lot of times, we when I talk or whatever,
I knew it was Mir. Sorry.
She's checking it out. But she'll come over, like even in morning coffin with KB, she'll come over and she'll take that big old paw and she'll just rape my hand over like, hey, pet me. I don't care what else you're doing. I need my ear rubbed. Nice. And people have says coffee with KB's going to the dog. Well, there's a whole lot worse places it could go other than to the dogs. And or be coffee with puppies of the mornings, but because I know you have your little. I
was going to say Schnauzer. Why was I going to say Schnauzer? Our pug, English Bulldog.
And that's another thing, well, why ain't it just a bulldog? Why is it an English bulldog? That's part of the culture that came over.
That's our culture. Yeah, that's the culture of the dog.
That's it. What is it? They got the Whippets and they got the Dutch Shepherds and all this, and they even bring the culture for the dog over. German Shepherd, and I'm like, it just seemed really, really odd to say America had no culture. We had the sulfur culture that come out of California, that part, the hot rock culture.
Yeah. And by the way, people who are making comments about Ken, he did say on air, and he told me before he announced it on air, he told me privately, he was told 6 to 12 months. And that was about a month ago.
That's what I heard.
And so he's going through treatment right now. Rainey has sent him a couple of things. If any of you have special treatments you've heard of that work, send them over. Mm-hmm. Let's get those in front of Ken. And maybe he will have some opportunity to expand things. Hey, Amanda Berry. How you doing? She said our dogs could be related. She said Staffordshire Terriers spitting image mate of my Marley Rose.
Yeah. Like I said, if anybody who knows me knows, this is my right here. She's certified therapy, emotional support animal.
Yeah.
And like I said, and anybody says, oh, these dogs are so mean, or I said the only thing that's mean about her is if she eats chili.
Oh, nice. That's mean when a dog eats chili.
Then you can't live in the house with her.
Right. By the way, Amanda Berry, if you don't know her, she's from Australia.
Australia.
Yep.
You know what is it? They say shrimp on the Barbie, and they don't even have shrimps or a Barbie or whatever down there. And
Don't they?
Yeah,
But they have Foster's,
yeah.
Australian for beer. That's all we heard in the ad campaigns.
I'll tell you about meeting the Australians.
Thank you, Amanda.
To down for Meridian, Mississippi, and I asked them. You know, I was going to be nice because the only Australian beer I had ever heard of was Foster's. And if you want to make Australians mad,
prawns, she said, by the way.
Yeah, I'll offer them or Foster's. I said, but that's your beer. He said, you know why we export it? And I said, why? He said, because nobody's here dumb enough to drink it.
There it is.
That's it.
Now I drank Foster's a while back, not as a regular concern, but if I was going to go get beer, it wasn't going to be Bud Light or Mick Light or Coors Light or any kind of light yellow swill that I could see through.
No.
But I did drink Foster's. I liked it. And it came in the bigger cans. You know, the cans were like about this size.
The big oil cans.
And so I enjoyed them. Piss tastes like Foster's. There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time. I would say, Amanda, it's been probably 30 years since I've had a Foster's. So
but
my taste for Foster's is older than you.
That's what I told him. Miller High Life. You know, if you go, do you remember the little champagnes? Beers? They come in an 8-pack, and but and everybody's mad about which the whole meme had started the conversation yesterday. And when all this came out, I told him, I said, be a man, drink 190 proof, be a man. Yeah.
All food beers is beer, eh?
Yeah.
She says, I'll go with that.
Yeah,
I'm a Guinness drinker, so I've been exclusively a Guinness drinker for probably about 30 years. On occasion, I have slipped into the realms of the illiterate masses by drinking piss swill beer when I've been really hot, really thirsty, and that's all they've got sitting out there is some kind of I'm trying to think of the beer my dad, when I went to visit him 32 years ago, for one of the first times since I was a little kid. And we sat around his campfire drinking some kind of beer with the name Mountain in it. Like, I don't know, Mountain Crest beer or whatever it was. And it was like, and so.
I asked a guy one night, used to, you could buy your buddy a 6-pack of beer and they'd help you move a couch, refrigerator, all that. And asked him, I said, what's your brand? He said, OP. I said, what the hell is OP? He said, Other People's. So he didn't really have a brand. He just drank whatever was readily available. And but no, if you take care of the Guinness, I'll take care of the what's the other thing I'm thinking of? The whiskey, the Irish.
There you go. Scotch.
All outside that. Scotch. Scotch.
Your single malt Highland or your your Jameson.
Bailey's. Yeah.
Sitting right there. There it is.
Yeah, Jameson. Yeah, I can do Jameson too. Yeah.
I like Jameson.
Yeah, and
so I've got to restock my supply here.
Oh, that's a catastrophe.
I gotta keep my glasses on. I cannot read things tonight.
Yeah, she said Blue Moon. Okay, Blue Moon with a slice of
Blue Moon.
I tried that and I'm like, that's like a flat tire beer because Blue Moon comes from.
I like flat tire every now and then. I'll drink a flat tire.
And I'm like, I'm like, no, I can't do any of the craft beers.
Amanda, Scotch on the road. I do Scotch, single malt Highland Scotch, neat, and I don't need ice. I don't need water. I don't need anything in it. Room temperature's fine. And Bailey's, yes, Bailey's Irish cream, and a little bit of vodka mix.
Hey, the Irish cream works good every morning coffee. They call that an Irish coffee. Yeah. And they want to talk about culture. Yeah, we stole that. So put a little Irish in your coffee in the mornings.
There it is. I don't know what a pickleback is.
Yeah.
I do like a Bloody Mary if it's done right. There are what I call teeny bopper Bloody Marys for adults, and there are adult Bloody Marys. I prefer the adult Bloody Mary.
Oh,
You
blackberry.
come around here on a Sunday morning when I'm not doing radio, and we'll have Bloody Mary. See, that's what I aspire to do. What are my goals in life? I want to have Sunday morning. I do radio on Sunday morning, but wouldn't it be nice to move the radio on Sunday morning out to the patio in the nice weather and have a Bloody Mary? And
No
that would be
mimosa
nice.
for you.
Yes.
No mimosa or whatever.
Oh, I could do a mimosa.
Yeah, it says
I
blackberry.
like a mimosa.
Do you still have some of it? I can neither confirm or deny what kind of flavors of quart jars are floating
Flat
around.
Tire, says Philip, sounds like a beer with no carbonation.
Oh, it is. It tastes like straight horse piss.
It's a good beer. I enjoy Flat Tire. Fat Tire. I'm sorry, not Flat Tire. I've been saying Flat Tire. It's Fat Tire. Fat, F-A-T. Fat Tire beer is good. I like a good Newcastle brown ale. That's pretty good. What's Amanda Berry saying? Tomato juice, Tabasco, ice, and vodka. Yep.
And salt and pepper.
And a little salt and pepper. Yep.
I used to like
garlic dill juice. Ooh.
To get what is it? The Jose Cuervo, but after a good night on Jose, that's your last time of any tequila.
I am not a big tequila drinker.
No.
I've never gotten, drunk on tequila, but I've had enough tequila. I don't like the taste. It tastes too. It's got this syrupy, pasty taste to me, and I don't like the. It's almost like the texture of it. I don't like the texture.
No.
So
that's the reason I like Jägermeister, which I always like the licorice flavor anyway. And everybody's like, oh, you're drinking cough syrup. I was like, well, that's right. I got a sickness. Mix it with some Red Bull. You do it all night long. The Jaeger bombs is.
And must have a good deed, so an amazing barbecue with the drink. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Jaeger bombs. I haven't done Jaeger bombs in 25 years. So.
Yeah, people said, oh, that's a frat, like a.
We used to go to a place
frat boy
over on the University of Minnesota here outside of the Minneapolis area. Well, it's in Minneapolis. It has a little town that has been called for decades. It's been called Dinky Town. It's just the little town that is part of the campus.
Yeah.
Stores and shops, little straight line streets. And they have a place over there called Sergeant Preston's. And we used to go, Sergeant Preston of the Mounted Police. We used to go to Sergeant Preston's and we had Jaeger shots and all of that stuff back in the day. So delicious batch of peach beer in his bathtub. There you go.
I had it was on number 10. Look, back over there again.
Oh, you hear that? I love that cute little. Hi, baby. What you doing? Huh? What you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I have another one too. The Poseidon, he's in his kennel right now because he don't know how to act right yet. Mila, she's 5, and like I said, she's a daddy's girl. But Poseidon's in there, and and like I said, he's part Staffy and part the American, whatever they call it, and he's almost as big as her at 6 months. Military jungle juice from a trash can and a trash bag liner with ice. Been there, done that too.
Yep.
But that goes back to your subject night culture.
Yeah, that's American culture.
And when I first joined the Army years ago, you didn't know if you was drinking Dos Equis, Michelob.
I like to go.
You know what I'm saying? It could be it's whatever room you ended up with was the one that had the most money left over because we didn't make nothing when we first went in. So that's the room you went to drink in, and you learn to have a very diverse taste
Yes,
alcohol, and
they are souks.
yeah,
she
and,
says.
and like I said, the military,
Amanda,
it's like
Amanda, I don't mean this in an untoward way. When I put your post up across the window, it blows up your picture, which I only see usually about that big. Now it's that big. Are you not wearing any clothes in that picture? You got a cap on, but I thought always thought there was a pink strap to a top, but it looks like it's a bunch of little hearts.
the more you know,
naked in
Scotty.
that picture?
The
Just
more you know.
curious. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah. Hey, talking about culture. Hey, it's all
There's
about
culture.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, Point Break. And she said,
LOL. Yeah, I'm all good.
yeah.
I don't know what that was in response to.
Hey, it is.
Now I'm going to make everybody look at your profile picture.
Yeah. It's like tonight. I hadn't seen them at the store because somebody told me I was drinking too much of the green can, right?
Oh yeah.
So
who was that?
Who was that? Yeah, same one it said. It said, "Hey, Mike, you smoke too much. Your dog is getting secondhand smoke. Yeah, your cholesterol's too high."
Mm-hmm.
So I
love her to death.
Yeah, that's it. So I guess we get a conference call Monday with my doctor so she can ask all the questions that she needs to know how to keep me healthy. But like I said, I got it today too. It's like she said, I'm bollocking you too. I was like, no, go ahead. I said, it's sinking in. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm trying. And she's like, what's wrong with men? They don't want to take care of themselves. That they smoke too much. That they don't eat right. I'm like, I think Old Smokies. Old Smokies is very good. With this flight. If you've never been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, $5 you can get 13 sample shots.
Nice.
That's what I thought. I said that was an entertainment value. They got Smith Creeks down.
Hell yeah. Entertainment.
Smith Creeks is free. It's in the Tanger.
Hey, Josh Kemp.
Oh yeah. Now that talking about cultures that come from, well, even moonshine came over from another country. George Washington, he was a moonshiner, and a lot of them guys, brewed their own drink. And I went walking in Surfer's Paradise in Queensland, every second shop.
An American Zone 7-Eleven with all the American food, even Lucky Charms and Reese's and all sorts. There you go. American food, Lucky Charms.
That
magically delicious.
Yeah. They say you don't have no culture. There is another YouTube channel.
$15 for Lucky Charms.
What the hell?
You gotta really like them.
No shit. It was cheaper to have somebody mail them to you and import them and pay the import tax.
Yeah,
but
really.
There's a New Zealand family. I forget what the name of it is, but people send some boxes of American food to try. Like the brownies and all this other stuff, and even in Christmas now, the Japanese, it's an American style Christmas. They all eat KFC chicken because that's what all the commercials showed them. They all go get KFC buckets for Christmas. And I've had a lot of people ask me in other countries, oh, you don't eat this for Christmas? I'm like, no, it's either ham or turkey. And they're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, but
it's like the little meme. I've seen it a few times. It says Europeans' view of what an American breakfast looks like. Yeah, and it had the plate with the eggs and pancakes and bacon, orange juice, coffee, and a loaded 9mm sitting on the table next to it.
And you got to protect your bacon.
You got to protect your bacon. And the Europeans and the other cultures think we're a gun culture. They're wrong. We are a culture that says it is your right to defend yourself. No. So it's your right to own a weapon. It doesn't say that doesn't make us a gun culture.
No,
it makes us, and like I've mentioned a couple of times before, the First Amendment protected free speech and freedom of religion. What was the second thing they thought of? What's the second one going to be? Gun rights. You have the right to protect your rights.
Yeah, I want to say number 2 protects number 1.
Yep. Yeah. Number 2 takes care of number 1.
But you talking about the gun culture? I would like I said, when well, everybody knows it's Wendy, but she's from the UK, in London, and she said that it really blew her mind that when she come to Canada, the police officer.
Muskets are fun.
Oh yeah,
I
and
got one.
and she said she kept staring at this handgun on this officer's side, and he looked over. He said, "Oh, you must be English because they don't see the open carry even with the policeman, and it's a different culture, and if we're known as a gun culture, it keeps the enemy at the gate and not coming through.
That's right. What did they say? I can't remember who said this. There was a saying. It was one of the big foreign leaders. It was either Nikita Khrushchev or of Russia and Soviet Union, or somebody in China. I don't remember who it was. It says you don't want to invade America because there are 10 guns behind every tree stump, and they are an armed people.
Yeah,
So
that was out of World War II. When they bombed Pearl Harbor, it was one of the I can't pronounce it. You know me, I'm horrible with names.
yeah.
But he said they would be a gun barrel behind every blade of grass.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of. Hirohito.
Yeah, He said if we make landfall on the continent, every man, woman, and child will be taking a pop shot at your head.
That's it. And I know Amanda says muskets are fun. I know there are people out there that say that the Second Amendment was written only for squirrel hunting and for muskets because that was the day and age, which is wrong. If the principle of the Second Amendment only applied to the guns that they had during the times, then the freedom of speech only applied to the forms of speech they had back then. So that must mean the First Amendment doesn't apply to the internet or television or the radio because we didn't have those things back in 1776. So the Second Amendment, like the first, is one that was written by futurists, our founders, who knew. That's why it doesn't say you have the right to own and bear muskets. It said you have the right to own and bear arms, things that protect your family. I got bow and arrows, she says.
Oh, yeah.
And one ninja star ready for action. I'll be heading for the caves or a wombat hole. Arg. Arr, she says.
I got another friend I played poker with online. He's from New Zealand. I kept telling him, hey, send me over a wombat. He said, what do you want a wombat for, Mike? I said, because it'll screw with the dog.
Yeah.
People own cannons. Yeah, that brings that up. There's a funny story that, I'm walking around. I'm showing Wendy, some of the property here and all this stuff. And she said, wait, was that a cannon? And my neighbor 2 houses down has a cannon in their front yard, which he's passed now, and he's would has it. And every 4th of July, he sets off his cannon. Even back then, you was allowed under the law to own cannon.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking, we need to revert back to that. I need a big ass cannon in my yard.
I got a little cannon my dad made for me. Big cast iron, it's a deck gun is what it is. It's on ships. They used to put them up on the little posts and they'd light them off from there.
What is it? I can't remember because I didn't hang out with many of the cannon cockers, but
I've never fired it. I need to fire it. By the way, Dave says that way I thought when the First Amendment was meant only for people who write with feathers and ink. Then, yeah,
I've tried that. It's really hard.
Now, Dave, doesn't voice to text challenge you to learn how to enunciate better? Dave enunciates well, but it does it to me. Whenever I do voice to text, it misspells everything because we say things so differently. By the way, that's another sign of American culture is dialect, our mannerisms of speech, our dialect, the way we speak, our accents, and so on. Yeah. So.
Even when I talk to Wendy or Sandra, a lot of times I have to find a word that
damn Skippy mirror
played over to UK English other than American English. What Uncle Dave said something today. He said we're a culture separated by a common language.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's that say? Oh,
I want me a gun.
Yeah,
that's the kind of cannon I have.
I want me
about 2 feet long.
Yeah,
Dave's seen it. Dave, we got to fire that one of these days. I've had it for about 15 years and I've never fired it off.
Oh, let me see if I can send you a picture over and you can put it up. Talking about cannons. Let me see here. If I can find it here real quick.
Not with a bow and arrow, you wouldn't, Amanda.
No. Let me see if I can find it here.
As good as you might be.
Okay, let me see here.
You could be Katniss from Hunger Games.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, okay. Oh, I know where it is. Okay, it's here. Okay, but and that way you can put it up when you talk about cannon. Because one of the things I did in the Army, we did the ceremonial raising and lowering of the flag, and after you was in for a while, you got to shoot the cannon, and I would love to shoot the cannon, and I only screwed it up like once. I went because they have like a little intro to like reveille of the morning,
mm-hmm.
and I got carried away, and the cannon went off a little early. But at that time of the morning, nobody recognized, and they was all stumbling around looking for coffee. So no harm, no foul. But like I said, I know that picture.
We used to set up the cannon every morning and every evening at the Renaissance Festival. The Royal Guard did.
Yeah,
and when I was part of the Royal Guard, so we'd all stand up on the hill, the knoll up above the opening gate and the closing gate.
All right.
And
I'll send it to you.
Fire off the cannon.
Yeah, and that's some of that tradition that we brought over too. And people was like, "Okay, here you go." Yeah, I'll send it to your messenger, Scotty, if you can get it and pull it up. Talking about the cannon.
All right.
Dialect from region to region, city and country. It is, and I used to one a day pull back a bow. Dumb ways to die. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, after you get old, you get a crossbow.
Yeah, you get a crossbow.
Yeah, that's what I did.
That'll help.
Yeah, like I said, yeah.
I had a longbow once. I don't have it anymore.
Yeah. You get you a dog that gets accustomed living indoors with the finer things alive.
Dumb ways to die, says Amanda.
Yeah, and I tell people, I don't even lock my door. They say, why? I said, nobody don't want to mess with the queen.
That's right.
The queen gets used to climate control, and if she thinks you're going to mess with the deal she's got, that good disposition leaves pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I hate to say it, but we're gonna start wrapping it up here. It's 10:38 my time, 11:38 your time. It's tomorrow afternoon in Amanda's neck of the woods.
Oh yeah.
And she's a time traveler. And so I want to thank everybody for being here. It seems abrupt, but we'd end in 20 minutes anyway, 22 minutes, but I'm done. I'm done for the day. And Michael, I might give you a call when we're done.
I'll be here, bud.
And just chat about a couple of things real quick.
Yes, sir.
And be well, everyone. Remember to do something good for someone, says Uncle Dave.
Yeah.
And Amanda says eclipse in process down here now. Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, you have fun with that, Amanda, your eclipse, and everyone else who's here. Appreciate your being here. Anita Palmer. See, I took off my glasses, and I got to lean in this close to read. Thank you, Barbie D.
Yeah.
And good night to you too, Anita Palmer. And Josh is, okay, guys, sorry about being late. Yeah, we were going to hold that against you, Josh, but as long as you said you're sorry, you're good. Diane Atkinson. Hello, Diane. I hate to say it, we're just wrapping up. So you can hear this show in its archive. You might not see the live chat. It usually takes 24 hours for the live chat to propagate. If you listen to this show later, if you're listening to this now, I'm speaking as if I'm in the future. If you're listening to this now, and this show was yesterday, you probably will see the chat by then, but you won't be able to interact in the chat. You can only interact when you're here live, but you can read all the chat. But you can leave comments down below the window. So anybody can do that. So if you have not liked this broadcast, please go and give it a thumbs up.
Like and subscribe.
That's right. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the join button if you want to see how you can financially support this show. It's either $1, $5, or $15 a month. And you can see some of the things you're supposed to be getting, which I've never ever done any of all of those things, but there are things that we do. So you can go check it out if you want to help support this show. And the show, of course, itself every night is no charge to anybody when you're catching it live, even in archive. But if you want to give a little something to help support the show, that's where you can do it. And I would thank you in advance for that. And Michael, I'm going to let you go. I'll give you a call probably in a few minutes when I step up to the garage.
All righty.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me. All right, everybody else, guess what? This is the time. This is the time we're done. And I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. And when we do the zoom ins, by the way, it changes the whole camera direction. So I have to constantly move the camera around. But if you wondered why I just pulled that back. So that was it. If you're American, you've got a culture. And don't forget it. And don't let anybody tell you you don't have. And try to, degrade America in the process. Unnecessary. America's got its black eyes. Yeah, America makes mistakes. But America is probably the most exceptional place to live. You don't see many people clamoring to get into Russia or China or Iran. They're all struggling to get here. So you don't see lines at the border to our south of people waiting to get into Mexico. So there you are. So everybody, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. We'll see you again it's Wednesday, so I'll see you again on Friday. And that's all I got. So in the meantime, I want you all to have a good day tomorrow. Have a good couple of days. And as always, you know what? Live long and prosper.